All right, we're going to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Start with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Sunshine Law notice. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform, being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this regular council meeting of November 28, 2022 is available by call-in phone number or through web conference Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions or comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question or comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was included in a schedule of meetings which was adopted by resolution number 2022-13 and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, the Hub, and the Star Ledger on January 6, 2022, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Council members Kushner Keith.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
McHugh.
Here.
Neff.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here. Okay. We don't have anything on workshop today, do we? Teresa?
No.
So we're gonna move right to public comment on agenda items tonight. We're speaking about only things on the agenda. Please stand and identify yourself by clearly stating your name or address for the record. Please try to observe a time limit of 3 minutes. Is there anyone that has any comments on just agenda items for tonight? Allison, is there anyone on the Zoom with any comments?
No hands are raised at this time.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to move towards approval of minutes of the November 14th, 2022 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
No, I can't make a motion.
Oh, I wasn't here.
You weren't here.
Someone that was
Motion to
here?
accept the minutes.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Council members Kushner Keith.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Neff.
Yes.
Thank you. Old business, hearing adoption of ordinance 2022-17 to amend police special duty assignment rate. Do I have a motion to open?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the amendment of police special duty assignment rate? Allison, anyone on Zoom?
No hands are raised.
Anyone want to make a motion to close?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, do I have a motion for adoption?
Motion. Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Council members Kushner Keith.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Koch.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
Neff.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving along to River Road Street opening update. Borough Administrator Casagrande.
No updates, sir. The Monmouth County road supervisor was on vacation, so they haven't been able to come to the meeting. I'm hoping to get that scheduled this week.
Okay, and if you could please follow it up with a facilities update.
We are in the midst of working with our estimator on the estimates for both the renovation of DPW and renovation and the Butler Valley option. I expect we had a call last week. I expect probably another follow-up call sometime later this week. And there's been no movement on the police department.
Does anyone have any questions on that?
One question, if I may.
Sure.
What is the status of the structural assessment? Having to do the roof where it meets the existing walls? that came up some time ago.
We'd have to get a structural engineer, but that hasn't been, we're waiting for the estimates first before we move in that direction. I think.
Just like to offer that information, may be helpful to look at it all at one time. Would you please elaborate on the steps would be necessary to get the structural engineer to look at it?
Honestly, I would generally think the next course of action, depending on whether the borough side, the government decides to move forward with one or the other, would depend. Not so sure you need a structural engineer to run the bucket.
No, but it may help facilitate and accelerate decision-making if we could get that information. How about this? Could Mr. Gardella provide a cursory structural analysis to see if it needs further?
He's not a structural engineer. I don't think he'd be comfortable doing that, but
He can inspect it. Would you feel comfortable inspecting it?
inspecting it to what end, I mean,
We'll talk about it after the meeting.
Anyone else have any other questions on facilities?
Do we have a time frame on when we expect Brian need to complete his assessments?
So
It's been
just-
a while.
So just to, what was discussed on the call is there was a quote that was provided. The quote that was provided had some items that were added. Some of them, it sounds like are necessary. Some of them maybe not so necessary. So I believe that it's now in the hands of Rich, who's going through the analysis that he provided, and he's going to highlight the items that are optional, so that we have an idea based on that quote of what has to be done and what is being recommended to be done, because they're two different things.
Right, okay, do we expect that soon?
I would think if within the next couple of
I
months.
didn't get the feeling that it was going to take a long time based on the call, but I don't have a date that he provided. What I'll do, or Teresa can do it tomorrow, is I'll follow up with Rich directly and ask him for a timeline. I'll get it to everyone.
I know he already got back to them. Off of that phone call,
He already got back to them.
yes.
Okay. Moving along, new business, council committee reports, starting with finance. Councilwoman Neff.
Nothing new to report. Teresa, is there anything you would like to comment?
No, we're expecting our 2023 budget request back from all department heads this week.
Thank you, Councilwoman Neff. Personnel, Councilwoman Christner Keith.
There are no personnel updates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning, followed by Parks and Recreation, Councilwoman Cobb.
Yes, Santa in the Park and the holiday stroll is scheduled for Friday, December 9th. The menorah candle lighting will be Sunday, December 18th. I don't have a time, but I think it's usually
4:30.
4 o'clock.
4:30.
Yeah.
4:30. But all that information will be on the Borough website. And the holiday house decorating contest information will be sent out this week. And that is it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Koch. Moving along to police, fire, office of emergency management, followed by engineering and DPW, Councilman McHugh.
Nothing new to report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Moving along to borough facilities, which we just discussed, Councilman Rodriguez.
The only thing I'll report is we got good use out of the facilities this Thanksgiving. I want to thank everybody who showed up for the turkey trot. It was a wild success, and thanks to the communications team that put the buzz out with some of the information. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Rodriguez. Moving along to borough communications and community outreach, Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mayor. In the interest of time, I'm going to provide you a year in review quickly. The committee met in November, and for the benefit of the public and the rest of the governing body, there were 4 major highlights we thought were capturing the introduction of Buzz, our friendly communication outreach mascot, with the goal of continuing to drive people to sign up and participate in the information blasts. Continue to, again, to promote participation. We are currently at about 62% of our households who are signed up. We're going to look to develop a campaign to expand that ongoingly. This year, we launched our audio-visual component of our hybrid meeting platform. We will continue to identify best practices and how to maximize or optimize the use of this new infrastructure. We also identified and created the components of a volunteer handbook to serve as a resource for all various parts of our government. Goals for 2023 include consolidating electronic communications where it may save money, facilitate communications and streamline graphics without creating a burden on staff. We'll stay true to old school communications that work, especially where it helps us stay connected with segments of our population that may not be digital friendly. 3, we are going to look to again optimize our AV component of the hybrid platform and develop instruction guidelines for the various boards and commissions who also may be using this new equipment. We will produce and circulate the volunteer handbook. We look forward to that being both an electronic and print piece. And our goal also, while this is not currently available, we hope to be able to incorporate and offer a customizable digital calendar so that residents who perhaps are involved in rec can download the rec meetings, or perhaps for somebody who likes to come to the environmental commission meetings, and you could download that. That was something Councilwoman Kristen Keefe really encouraged us to pursue, and Betty has been doing that. Our discussion around policy pertaining to texts is underway. Our meetings are 1 hour. We covered a lot, but that will continue. There's an appreciation for maintaining the discrete messaging necessary for any kind of emergencies. There's also the benefit of texts and how useful that is to communicate with our residents for other things. So, but we're looking at ways to distinguish that and to clarify the policy on it as what has been requested. Just quickly, the Environmental Commission is looking at their goals for 2023. The 3rd Street Trail has a commitment from the Environmental Commission for $1,250 of the 2022 budget, which will be allocated but not until 2023. The DeNormandy Park project has, the governing body should have received a letter of endorsement from the Environmental Commission about this project. It is a unique balance of engineering and ecology, providing us the opportunity to do something with green infrastructure, and really make Fairhaven something of a model. I'll just add that there's $78,000 that have been earmarked for this project prior. We also received a memo from the Shade Tree Commission related to the tree inventory, which is something that aspire to. Such an inventory would provide us with the planning tool that we need to apply for grants in the amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars to begin tree planting program. It's ambitious, but could be part of a grant down the road, and more on that next year. The holiday stroll. I just want to acknowledge the business community who helped sponsor the trolley. I know several of us here on the dais were on the trolley hosting just a packed. The town was just so festive and lively. I hope the shops did as well as some of the other hot spots in town. I know it's designed for all of us to begin our holiday shopping. I hope that's what happened, but I also have to say the open house at Pleasanton Hall, and just kudos to the business district for making the trolley happen and for shops for all Saturday. So that's my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cole. Moving along to introduction of ordinances, 2022-18. Amend borough fee schedule. Before I ask for a motion, is there anyone that would like to discuss this? As it is currently set.
Did we ever modify or edit council's recommendations about the, again with the phrase, or dangerous dog or dangerous species or something? About the, yeah, I think it's dangerous species and boarding and kenneling and
Yeah.
animal. We make any ground on that?
Right. It's, Rec reviewed our contract with the SBCA, and it's covered the range that we currently have.
Yeah, so there were 2 things I was talking about last time. One, in terms of collecting the fees for the impound and the dogs. And so in fact, I mentioned Borough Roosevelt, where I represent. They have Western Vomit, and so their actual expenses are a lot higher. When I went back 3 years with MSPCA, they're giving you a very good deal, and so this ordinance matches those fees. The second thing I was talking about was the pair of local ordinances with respect to vicious dogs, dangerous dogs. And so I took a look at your code. There was some topics that were discussed with the administrator. We have some issues in town, so you may see something on that coming up in the future to update our impoundment of animals section of the Borough Code.
All right.
But that's a separate issue.
Appreciate that diligence. That's it.
I did have an exchange today. I did send to the full governing body on the review of the tipping fees. I think we'd be safe enough to stay with the $300 a year for residents. And I would recommend $420 a year for commercial. I sent a list of, there's only 5 businesses that use the additional can. 3 of them have 1 additional can, 1 has 2 additional cans, and 1 has 4 additional cans. So it's not a huge number of businesses that actually have an extra can. But I do think that in looking at the total tipping fees and the associated costs, I think $300 a year for residents and $420 a year for commercial would be a good recommendation. I sent that email probably around 3 maybe today, Tracy, and I copied everybody.
You agree with that? Anyone have any comments on that?
Well, so thank you for that email. I'm sorry I didn't get to it in time. So a little last minute for me. My thought was currently you can't cost the same whether you're a business or a resident. And $500 a year for each, if the $500 a year was a number that had some rationale, presumably it does, then the same fee for each, whether commercial or residential, would apply.
The thought being was, what we were trying to capture was both the cost of the can and the cost of the actual tipping fees. And there was a presumption there that I think we had a discussion last time, and I thought that everybody agreed that commercial trash would tend to be heavier, although there's no way to weigh. It's very hard to put that, but I mean, if the governing body is more comfortable, making it the same, then you probably end up doing around $400 for each, I would imagine.
I'd be more comfortable seeing the same fee for each, especially given the nature of business district. Most of the larger businesses, especially those involved with food, already have a private disposal contract.
There's only one that gets 4 cans that doesn't.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the yacht club?
Or the Knights, or the Columbus.
And most of the, and the Columbus Club, but most of the other businesses, even if they wanted an extra can, are in buildings that were once residential, home-like in terms of square footage. We don't have high impact, high intense uses. I just don't want to see any bias based on, common practices that might apply to other business districts, but not ours. So I'm prepared to do further analysis on that if the government body would need that. I tried to do it, but our tax assessor is only in on Thursdays, and so I don't have much to get with them. But my position would be that we should have the same fee. They're paying the same fee now, $300 whether you're a business or a resident, and that we should maintain that equality and have the same fee. Whether it should go up. Actually, I know that the fees have gone up. So I'm comfortable with increasing it, whatever that number needs to be.
I think 4 and 4, if you want to leave it the same, would be fine.
I'll be fine with
So you
that.
lowered the overall cost, Teresa, because you had 500 and 750.
Yes, the way we allocated the budgeting in the past, it was hard to narrow down the breakdown of the different fees when it came to tipping. They lumped them all together. This is the first year that we consistently have kept them separate, so it's very easy to follow. And whether it's recycling or whether it's a tax or the tipping fees, they're being properly charged. So it was a little easier to dial back and take a look at it and what our averages were. So I'm comfortable with 4 and 4.
Will that cover the added expense?
Everyone's good with
And we can
that?
look at it again next year. And just as a heads up, it's really, I know we encourage recycling, but the cost of recycling is greater than the cost of the tipping fees to get trash. It's almost, I don't want to say crazy, but you're better off if someone threw it out now from a cost perspective than if they put it in a recycling bin. I know that's not what we want to do, but it's like $135 dollars, you know, a ton for recycling as opposed to 86 for trash now.
Well,
That's what we're paying. You know,
is there anything through Clean Communities that can help subsidize our?
you know, only we help subsidize purchasing of some of the cans and stuff, you know, but it's an eye opener. It went from being a commodity to just, you know, a big expense, just something we want to, you know, keep our eye on. We'll better feel for it, you know, at the end of the year and then look at it maybe for a second quarter next year.
So just to be clear, I'm looking for a motion to introduce the ordinance 2022-18 to amend the borough fee schedule with the change of $400 for both residents and commercial tipping fees.
Yes.
Do I have a motion? for that?
Hold on.
Okay.
Before we move to the motion, one more comment, on additional borough run camp programs,
Mhm.
5 minimum, is it per camper?
Yes.
It says camp. And then it says 400
Per
maximum per
participant.
camp. So $5 minimum per camper or participant, but 400 maximum per camp.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, in other places it says per participant.
right. This one just says $5 minimum per camp, but it should be either camper or participant.
We
Yeah.
changed to participant, that's correct.
Yeah, I don't care which, but
Where are we
Okay.
changing that?
in additional borough run camp programs,
So page 3 towards the bottom.
yeah,
Awesome.
the 125 is crossed out and it says $5 minimum per camp, but I think that should read per camper or participant.
Those two changes, do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Nestor Keith,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Hutch,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Net,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
On the consent agenda, I'm going to remove 2022-233 just off to the side so that Councilwoman Chris McKeith can vote on the rest of the consent agenda. Why don't we start with that one? Does anyone have any questions on that, concerns?
You can just abstain.
You want me to vote on that one separately though, or no?
Just abstain.
Okay, so we're talking 2022-233 through 239. Anyone have any comments, questions on any of those?
I would just comment that at Carter Pond, that the bid is being awarded to Hydrant the Carter Pond. Yep, we did it.
It's like 10 years in the making.
And I do want to say that I was very pleased with how quickly Peter Watkins' office turned that whole thing around and, you know, we'll get this out and hopefully they can start, with the weather being what it is, you know, in December.
Next month, right?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Nestor Keith,
Yes, with the exception of 2022-233, which I will abstain.
Paul,
Yes.
Hutch,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Net,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Department reports, October 2022. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, moving along, go to the borough. Please stand and identify yourself by clearly stating your name and address for the record. Please try to observe a time limit, 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the public that has a comment for the good of the borough? Allison, is there anyone on the Zoom?
Yes. Claudia Brady. Maybe you'll mute yourself.
Claudia? No?
She's on her hands raised. I asked her to unmute, but
Claudia, if you can hear this, please unmute. We can't hear you. Is there, yeah, Allison, is there someone else?
Justin Brady.
We'll give her another 20 seconds.
I didn't expect you to get there this quickly.
Probably.
Come back in 10 minutes.
Just looking at watch thinking,
And I'll reach out to Mrs. Brady offline and see if we can help her in any way. With that being said, we're gonna move to executive session.
Can I put a little tidbit for good of the
Sure.
borough? Something I didn't get to earlier. In other business news, would like to welcome Bricks for Kids. It's a Lego fun business located in cooperation with Evolving Minds Tutoring. Look for Taste and Technique. They're gonna relocate over to the former Siege Sprout. And if you have a chance, stop in a Coastal Decor and say, see you in Mont Beach. She's gonna be relocating. And that's
Thank you. With that being said, we're gonna move to executive session. No formal action will be taken at 7:27 PM.
how
Do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:51 PM?
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Have a great night.
Wait, I just have to tell you one story that